Hey everyone, Chris Gio here, coming to you with another Beyond the Veil Quickie. This time, we're doing it live. I figured why not? It's much easier for me when we do it live. But Sam Young left a really interesting comment about the number 9. And if you've been watching our videos, I just recently had an ayahuasca experience where I actually saw a council of 9. I've read it in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth before, but I've never really seen it in the ayahuasca realm, and so I never really paid much mind to it because I've got to take this kind of stuff into myself and really confirm it from my raw consciousness. And when it comes to ayahuasca, there has to be a lot of discernment. I mean, a lot of discernment in the visions that you're seeing. So it takes me a while to really wrap my head around a particular subject because ayahuasca has a tendency to either manifest stuff that you're bringing into your consciousness or bring stuff out from your raw consciousness. And you've got to discern the two. However, when Sam Young asked me about the number 9, I said, well, you know, it makes sense. There's 4 twins, and the twins are usually the ones, 4 sets of twins, I should say. So there's 8 total. They're usually the ones that make the decision. There's a 9th member on the council that's both male and female, kind of androgynous, because they carry both aspects, and they're kind of the tiebreakers, the deal breakers. I mean, the dispute breakers, if there is a dispute. However, he came back and he said, no. What I'm referring to is 9 as a number completely. And when he said that, all of a sudden something sparked within me. And I said, oh my God, a flood of information just started coming in. Now, I haven't been able to take this and confirm it in the ayahuasca realm yet, but I wanted to do this BTV Quickie live, and it's going to be short because our live show is tonight, 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight on the East Coast. And so we'll have much more time to talk about it tonight. And I don't want to talk about it too much because we want to really get in depth in it. But I figured this is a good opportunity to pass it back and forth with you guys here in the chat room briefly and just see how this particular philosophy, I'm not calling it gnosis yet, but philosophy resonates with each and every one of you. I'm so excited about this. Like, I'm on fire. Thank you so much, Sam, for asking these questions. And anyways, I won't ramble on too much longer. Let's jump into the number 9. So the number 9 is the destiny number. It's also the number of completion as well, as a lot of people understand this to be. In biblical numerology, the number 9 is finality or judgment. It is generally when, at the time of judging a person and his works. Also, number 9 is used to define perfect movement of God. The biblical number 9 is a number of patience. So all this just started flooding in, and I'm thinking about these movies. Like, you have this movie, The Nines. Here, I can put it up on the screen. You have like this movie, The Nines, here, and I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but essentially the 9s are manifesting a reality, and then this key player here realizes that the reality, that the simulation that he's manifesting, that he's one of the 9s, and so he's manifesting this particular reality for himself, and thus manifesting the NPCs and everything that are all around him. And then you have this movie here by Tim Burton, which is The 9s. And again, I don't want to spoil this movie for you, but it's about a creator that splits its soul into 9 different pieces because he was dying, and so his essence carries on in these little creations, which are the 9s. Now, Cherie and I have been discussing, why did we create this matrix? And it wasn't until last week that I really understood how consciousness works on the other side, in the real world. So we are creator consciousness. We are divinity. We are divine. We automatically think that because divinity is infinite, that it has to begin as infinite too. At least this is the way that my mind was going through everything, thinking, well, there is no beginning and end to us. But then I realized when I saw this council and this ayahuasca experience that, wait a minute, I have a father, and that father is on the council as well. I remember the argument with my father. He was the one that was most concerned about me coming into the machine because, as I said in the previous video, the machine was so broken that he didn't want anybody coming in. The council didn't want anybody coming in at all, period. But we needed to save life, save life, save life. So this is all new stuff that's coming to the surface now. Now, I'm only remembering what I need to remember at the time. of the journey. Because, for instance, prior to going to the Great Pyramid, I recognized entities on the other side as one of two things, either virus programs or antivirus programs within the Matrix. I didn't understand our real body or the fact that there are many races out there before, because I couldn't take that into the pyramid with me. Because what I was doing in the Great Pyramid was creating a portal up to the 13th density, and there were thousands of entities around trying to hop on, and I could not trust any of them because that would open me up to deception. So I didn't remember. It's almost as if like this veil that's on top of us, our consciousness is somewhat programmed by our higher self in order to unlock as the journey progresses at a particular time. So up until that point, I was under the assumption that there are no entities out there. And any entities are programs or manifestations of the system. But I also realized that we as the creator beings, like the snake people, for example, they created different unlocking programs. And that's why people are interfacing with different entities like Thoth and Isis and things like that, because they're not actually interfacing with those entities, but rather they're interfacing with the unlocking programs written by those entities left within the Matrix in order to unlock us. So that's a long way around everything. And these consciousness are real. You know, the Thoth and Isis and things like that. They exist. They exist outside in the real world. They can hop into the machine every once in a while, but they exist within the real world. But what we're interfacing with is the program itself. Now, I know that's a long way to come to this place that I'm getting to here, but I didn't need that information because I needed to go in there with just our people, with just our energy, no outside interference whatsoever when we created this portal. Because the Archons, they were trying to hijack the consciousness or the experience or the portal and use that to get up to the control panel to essentially lock us out of the system completely. Because the system out on the outside is broken, it's not responding to system commands, and therefore, you know, the only other way to try to fix it is to try to go up through the pyramid to the 13th density and try to fix it in that control panel. So I needed to not remember that, so I didn't trust any entity, so I wouldn't be fooled by the Archons. There could be entities on the other side, though, and they could be communicating to us through some type of technology that we are actually interfacing with them, but I think it's just programs. Now, this has nothing to do with 9. I know, it's just I'm on fire right now, and so all this stuff is just like flooding out of me right now. So when it comes to the number 9, okay? One of the realizations that I realize is, yes, we are infinite on the other side. We are divinity, but we have a creation. But it's not a creation from one source entity that wanted to split itself up into several different pieces of consciousness. That is for NPCs, because they were legitimately created from the artificial intelligence, and that artificial intelligence was creating copies of itself and has just spread out throughout the system as it was programmed to do. But because of the virus, it started replicating out of control, and it started to act in a way that it wasn't supposed to act. However, creation on the other side, the way it works is we take we think about what we're going to create in a very, very, very precise manner, because creating another being in the real world is creating an infinite being. So we have a starting point, but from that starting point, we are infinite because the material that we're made of is indestructible. So there's a lot of thought that goes into this. And you also have to think, how are you going to create this other being? Are you going to take an essence, a piece of yourself, and create another being? Or are two people going to come together, two raw consciousness, two organic consciousness come together to create this other being? But the difference between the New Age dogma, which is that we were created from source and returning to source, is that once that other being is created, it becomes a sovereign and separate being, and it is a creator being itself. But how would now here's where we're getting to the point now. Oh my God, I'm on fire right now. How would we judge when we created a creator being if that creator being was actually sufficient enough to be a creator being? Could there be a point after the creation of that being, which is going to be infinite from the time of its creation? How are we going to judge if that being is, or if that energy that we created manifesting this consciousness is actually going to be good for the greater good, for the society of infinite beings? You create a machine that tests the consciousness that has been created, that is going to be an infinite being. It's all tying in together now. Everything is coming together. So number 8, what is number 8? 8 is infinity. 8, it just goes in circles like that. 8. It's the wheel. It's the reincarnation. It's the cycle, the loop, the consciousness going through all these experiences to see, is this a consciousness a piece of shit? Is this a consciousness capable of being a creator being? Is this raw material that is going to be an infinite consciousness, that is going to be an eternal being, that is going to be a creator being? Does it have in its makeup, does it have the benevolence, the understanding, the ability to walk in balance? All of that. So we're stuck in the wheel of 8, right? What's number 9? 9 is the completion. 9 is the judgment. 9 is the divine. Because once you complete the wheel, then you become the 9 if you can become the creator being. And so 9, now you're exiting out of the machine. Boom. The answer to reincarnation, the answer to exiting the machine, the answer to all of that lays right there. Why did we create the machine? It's all flooding in right now. Now, there are some of us who are already creator beings that have come to the machine for a purpose. But what we're doing is trying to fix the machine because it's messing up the game, and we're not able to get accurate readings on the newly created organic consciousness that has been put into the machine as a test to see how they're going to react in society. Cherie came up with this analysis a long time ago, but it didn't really hit me until recently on the validity of this and how powerful that this gnosis actually is. So I'm just sitting here just blown away by like, oh, the number 9. The number 9 is the divinity. It's judgment, because that's after you've been judged, not by some god, not by any of that. You're judged to see if you are worthy to be a creator being yourself, or if the matter, I'm using that for lack of a better term, if the matter that was injected into the machine comes back with a negative test result. Maybe there's a purpose, or maybe, oh, this is just hitting me too. Maybe the ones that are not ready to be creator beings are stuck in the infinite loop of the machine because they don't affect the real world. Like, we can mess this world up as much as we want because it's a computer simulation. And so the computer simulation can be fixed. But once you release one of that consciousness into the real world, the damage that it can cause and the destruction that it can cause is eternal and permanent upon the real world. So this is kind of testing that consciousness. So there's some supposed creator beings who were created, some organic consciousness that have been stuck here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And maybe this is kind of a quarantine area too for the ones that are not on the right level and don't have the ability to resonate on that right level. And so they're constantly stuck in this wheel of reincarnation and never exit into the real world. What do you guys and gals think about this? Because this all just came flooding in just now. Again, it's speculation and philosophy up to this point, because I haven't taken it into the ayahuasca experience. And not only do I have to take it into the ayahuasca experience, but I have to take it into the ayahuasca experience 10 times before I can examine it from all, okay, let's say 13 times. It's a good number, 13 times, before I can examine it all from a 360-degree perspective. So at this point in the game now, everything is starting to merge, because the pyramid event removed the virus from the system, which consequently removed the veil from our eyes. We're remembering all of this. But the reason that we, the creator beings, had to come in here to fix the freaking matrix is because the loop was stuck. And so nothing was able to come out even after it was ready. So nothing was able, it was just a constant wheel of this figure 8, and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And we were just about to abandon the entire machine completely, but we decided we need to come in here and fix it. I'm going to check the chat room real quick. Everybody's saying, sounds like a great theory. Yes, this is a test area. We're able to fix the machine through prayer. It's powerful words beyond, but prayer to the divine, the all in all. Intention plays a big role, yes, but if you have a virus that's infected the machine, then you have a block there, so you can't get your intention out there because you have an overlay. You have an overlay of a virus that's infected the machine. I mean, we're talking about a physical nuts and bolts machine in the real world, which is beyond our words. It's beyond our capability to describe. The best way that we can describe it is a computer simulation. But Toth tried to describe this. Hermes tried to describe it. I'm trying to describe it now as a computer simulation with the best language that we have. It's more than a computer simulation, but the best way to describe it is a computer simulation. But yes, intention plays a huge, huge, huge role in this. But I wanted to see what you guys and gals thought about this. Now, don't forget, join us tonight, because that's when we'll get into the long show, into the good discussion, and especially into the back and forth with the chat room and everybody on Facebook, because I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear what you think. I don't have Cherie with me right now. She's still, Her Royal Highness is still preparing for the day. And so I'm going to end it here in just a few moments. But I wanted to say, holy cow, I think we are on to something. And it's because of Sam Young. And this is why it's so important that we come together. This is why it's so important to leave comments. This is why it's so important to like, comment, and subscribe. Not just because it helps out the channel, but it's because when we interact with each other like this, and this is why I try to reply to all the comments. I can't do it with all of them, but at least when new videos come out, I try to reply to all the comments in the first couple of days, because this back and forth like this sparks the flood inside of each and every one of us. It is incredible, incredible. So join us tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight on the East Coast, and we'll get more into the nines. We'll get more into the number 9. We'll get more into the machine, the holographic illusion, and I want to hear what each and every one of you have to say. So on that note, kiss the one you love right now. You never know when the last time is going to be. We'll see you at 9 o'clock Pacific time tonight.